On today's show,
Steph Curry says he could return for Game 3, but do Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and the Dubs even need him?
round 2. The Raptors attempt to chill the heat north of the border. We'll make our series predictions.
And things get a tad emotional in our brand new edition of Weekend Whoopsies.
It's Monday, May 2nd. The starter starts. Mwah!
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to The Starters. Whether you're listening to the podcast or joining us live on NBA TV or a little bit later on YouTube, we're happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tess Mellis.
My Game of Thrones predictions were way off on Sunday.
To his right, it's the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lele.
And last, certainly not least, over there, Starters blog editor, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-yo! TK, what do you got for us?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at #TheStarters. And guys, yesterday, something we thought long since dead was finally brought back to life. It's Chandler Parsons and DeAndre Jordan's friendship. You might have thought I was talking about something else, but it went down on the gram where the Chan Chan Man posted a photo of the two of them broing down along with the caption #NoHardFeelings, totally squashing the beef from last summer's DeAndre to Dallas drama. Now, those two are back together, which is great, but it brings us to today's question. What other NBA duo would you like to see reunited? For me, I'm going back just a couple of years so we can get Nate Robinson and Big Baby back together. Those guys always had fun, whether it was on the court, in press conferences, or when they turned into Shrek and Donkey and became a human meme. Unfortunately, they're both out of the league right now, so they're gonna need another project, like, for instance, a barbecue place. Baby Nate's Barbecue, the stick-to-your-ribs kind of joint that only Guy Fieri could love. But we want to hear from you. Send us in the duos you want to see reunited at #TheStarters, and we'll hear from you a little bit later.
All right, get your tweets in. We got Weekend Whoopsies tonight, as always, here on a Monday. We'll look ahead to tonight's NBA playoff schedule. We start with a little bit of Is This News? It's simple. Trey has rounded up some recent NBA playoff headlines. He's going to pitch them to us. We'll determine whether or not they're actually news. We ask you to do the same along on Twitter, #TheStarters. Trey, first headline.
First headline comes to us from ESPN, and it reads, Raptors finally get the monkey off their back, advance to round 2. Is this news?
Is this news? Of course.
Yes!
Of course!
This is the Toronto Raptors. For most other franchises, a playoff series victory, hey, it's not being framed and going up by the locker room, but this is different. This was the longest current drought in the NBA. The Raptors snapped it. The last time they won a playoff series, 7-game series, didn't even exist in the first round. That's how long it's been. It was 2001, especially the way they did it. It was so dramatic in typical Raptors fashion. They couldn't give this thing away. Those possessions at the end of
tried.
Those possessions were so difficult to watch, where they just decided, we're going to start our possession with about 5 seconds, over and over and over. Listen, these guys are carrying a burden that shouldn't be on their shoulders. It's on the shoulders of guys before them, like Jose Calderon and Chris Bosh and Rob Babcock and Brian Colangelo. But these guys finally lifted that off their shoulders. It's been a long time coming, and it sure didn't look like it was going to happen.
It's definitely news, Tass. I agree with you. But that proverbial monkey, I mean, it dug its claws into the Raptors' back and would not let go, because they were rolling through the first 3 quarters, and then this fourth quarter meltdown, where you got to give the Pacers the credit. But yeah, like you said, Tass, the Raps just running no sense of offense, totally playing scared, totally just hoping, praying that the clock would get to zeros and not really playing basketball. You heard Barkley and the guys talk about it after the game. But in the end, they got done. They played 3 good quarters of basketball. The fourth one was ugly, but in the end, they take it in 7. It's huge news for Raptors fans like us.
Yeah, good teams know you just have to survive and advance. That's all. Doesn't matter how, you just get through it. It is huge news for Toronto and the franchise, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big a news, the number 2 seed beating the number 7 seed. It rarely happens where the number 7 upsets the number 2. So for anyone who's not a Toronto Raptors fan, it was like, shouldn't have taken them that long to get through. So, it's great. It's a great moment for these guys, because you mentioned, Tass, that history was burdening these guys when it shouldn't have been. Back in the days of Vince Carter and Alvin Williams and those guys, that history is long, long past. It's now time for these new Raptors to start a new...
I'll sort of disagree with that, though. I mean, these are, to some extent, the Raptors that were there the last 2 playoffs.
Sure,
and lost to the Nets 2 years ago in a Game 7 at home in Toronto, and then get swept by the Wizards last year. There's some key players there that are still there, but I'm with you. I understand that it just builds up year after year and gets heavier and heavier, that monkey. I mean, GM Masai Ujiri is screaming, apparently in the locker room or outside in the hallway, the monkey is off our back.
Not swearing first time, which is good.
Yeah, well, he may have thrown an F-bomb in there. We're not 100% sure. But yeah, and it really is true. And because what's nuts about this, let's say they fall apart there and end up giving up that game. We might be seeing some huge roster overhauls for this team in terms of whether they bring back DeRozan, and it still might happen, don't get me wrong, but whether they bring back DeRozan, what they do moving forward, a couple of their other free agents, Dwayne Casey as their head coach. I mean, it's crazy to think that one game there could change the entire direction of the Raps going forward in the next couple of years.
Yeah, one quarter even.
Yeah.
But Masai Ujiri needs to take a bow because DeMar and Kyle Lowry struggled throughout this postseason, throughout those 7 games. The guys he brought in who weren't there the last 2 years, your Bismack Biombos, your Norman Powells, Corey Joseph was huge.
Yeah.
Thanks, Greg Popovich, for everything you did for Corey Joseph because he turned him into a champ. And those were the guys who really, really won this series. They were spectacular.
Yeah, they were good, but it's very important that the Raptors don't celebrate this too much because they've got a series starting tomorrow night against Miami. And again, this is only the first round. Really, for a number 2 seed, their goals should be much bigger than this. Great achievement, enjoy it, but move on and get to the next one.
Lee, 21 years.
I know.
2 playoff series victories.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
I know, but what I'm saying is, again, number 2 seed should have much bigger goals than just getting out of the first round.
Well, you're right. The relief, the exhale,
Yeah.
it's really short. And apparently they got back into the locker room and there was binders there with the playbook, what they had to study for the Miami Heat. It's very difficult. I'm looking forward to our predictions. It's difficult to go from to a very, very seasoned team that they're going to be playing tomorrow every second day. They can't give away game 1. I'm interested to see what happens in that game 1.
Game 1, semifinals, Toronto Raptors hosting the semifinals game against Miami Heat, 8 p.m. Eastern on TNT. We will make our predictions for this a little bit later in the show. We got to get to our next headline here, but we got to give a little credit to Paul George as well. He played lights out defensively and offensively in that Pacers-Raptors series. I thought he may have been the best player in the entire first round.
He was,
when you look at it from both sides of basketball, just unbelievable stuff. And Paul George even jumping on Twitter thanking Toronto and the fans just for putting up a fight and being into the game and showing up like Jurassic Park did outside. Huge, huge win. All right, Trey, time for our next headline. What do you got?
Yeah, our final headline comes to us from Fox Sports, and it reads, Steph Curry says chances are pretty good he'll play in Game 3. Is this news?
Thanks, Dr. Evil.
No, this is
Pretty
news.
good.
Oh, I think this is.
This isn't news at all because I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he tells this to Lisa Salters in the mid-game interview when the Warriors are destroying the Blazers. It's not news because it's not really going to be up to Steph Curry, truthfully. The Warriors training staff, they know what they're doing. He's of course going to say this. I mean, he hopes he'd like to get out there for Game 2. I'm imagining, but it won't be up to him. And then they killed them, the Blazers in Game 1. They looked amazing. What's the rush?
I think
it's
that
not really news.
To me, this has really nothing to do with this series against the Portland Trailblazers. He'd come back for Game 3 and have a couple warm-up games for series number 3, which I think is going to be against the San Antonio Spurs because they're both, no disrespect to the Blazers and the Thunder, but I think it's going to be Warriors-Thunder. And the way Steph looked Warriors Spurs. The way Steph looked in Game 5 when he came back from 2 games off was very, very, very bad. He was 2 of 9, 5 turnovers in that first half. He needs to be going full throttle. Game 1 against that.
So why rush him back for a possible Game 3 then?
Yeah, I think
he needs warm-up games.
He needs to get some miles into his legs because he doesn't play that first round series at all. So he could be facing the Spurs on 3 or 4 weeks of not really playing good quality basketball. So, but I think it's great news just to have the MVP back. He's just great fun to watch.
Oh, don't get me wrong. He's going to come back.
Yeah.
I think we all believe that. I mean, I'm just saying it's not really going to be up to him. They said right from the beginning.
But that happened in round 1 as well.
They said right from the beginning. They've even admitted it. We threw out a 2-week timetable we just pulled it out of air. We don't really know. We're just looking back at previous MCL injuries.
Okay, but he said it basically after 6 days.
Right now,
so he's coming back way sooner.
He's shooting from a standstill position. That's all he's doing right now. He's not moving around. He's not
you
ready to give it 100%.
on the court just shooting from a standstill position.
Well,
He'd be a better shooter than most players anyway.
The Warriors watched Game 1 of the Spurs and Thunder. Every game against the Spurs is like a Game 7. You can't give them a quarter. You can't give them a half. They saw that. They know that he needs to come back and be ready for Game 1, or else they could take him. I don't think the Spurs are going to lose 2 games in a row in this series. It's going to go back and forth in that Western Conference Final. Again, 2 of 9, 5 turnovers. You can't afford a half like that against the Spurs team that is so locked in. I really think every game in that series is like a Game 7. You can't give one away. The Warriors know that. Kerr knows that. They all watched what happened on Saturday. That was an incredible performance.
The Warriors might be the Warriors are definitely worse without Steph Curry, but maybe not defensively, which is the crazy part against a team like the Blazers. That's all. That's why I don't understand the rush. I know you guys want to get the reps in there, but I sure as heck don't want to get them back there too soon to possibly re-aggravate anything with there being no point to play the Blazers.
If they have a 2-0 lead going to Portland, I think that does give them a little bit extra
I think so too.
Yeah, because they don't need to rush him back. If it's 1-1, maybe they do try to reinsert him a little earlier.
Maybe. Let us know what you guys think on Twitter. Got to take a break, 2-minute timeout, but when we come back, we will preview and predict the second round series between the Heat and Raptors. Welcome back to the starters on Sunday. Both the Raps and the Heat, they won their Game 7s in their first round matchups. Some a little easier than others, obviously, but they will meet in their very first postseason battle Tuesday night, starting north of the border in Toronto. Let's take a look at our predictions for this one. I'm very interested to see where everyone goes. Oh, we're split. It's split. Tass and Trey like the Heat. Tass says it goes 7. Trey likes the Heat in 6. Lee, you and me say Raptors in 7. So all of us think it's going to be somewhat of a close series. I definitely will admit that my head says Heat in 6, my heart says Raps in 7. Follow your heart, Tass. But you don't want to. Go Tass. You like the Heat in 7.
Yeah, I just think that they got by the Indiana Pacers without their stars playing like stars, and I don't see that getting much better in this series, especially Kyle Lowry. The guy is playing injured. It's quite evident. People say, well, he can't shoot any worse. Well, the guy obviously has an elbow problem because he doesn't want to shoot, and when he has to shoot at the end of shot clocks or by the rim, it's not going down. He's shooting the exact same percentage as he shot last year when he was dead in the water. He was extremely tired at 31%, and he's shooting worse from 3. The guy is playing his heart out defensively. He's giving it all he can. He's getting hurt. He's getting banged up. I just don't see how he can shoot or play any better when he doesn't want to shoot the ball. I love the guy. The entire crowd loves this guy, loves him because he's getting on the floor. He sits there for a second, toughs it out, and he gets back up because that's Kyle Lowry and that's how he does it. But the numbers aren't there. Yeah, DeMar's numbers are slightly better. The fact is he's just shooting the ball. I think it's more the style of shots with DeMar. If he got more shots coming around screens, things would be working out better for DeMar. But I just don't see these stars playing like stars quite yet.
The good thing for the Raptors, though, is that the Heat don't have the perimeter defenders necessarily,
There's no
especially in the
Paul George.
starting lineup
Yeah.
that the Pacers did. Well, even George Hill's a pretty solid defender on a point guard, too. The
Yeah.
problem is that they're going to be running into Hassan Whiteside inside. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Raptors decide they actually want to attack those kind of things, because if it turns into a mid-range jumper fest, nobody wants to see that.
No, Joe Johnson with Brooklyn a couple of years ago had good success against DeMar DeRozan, but it's different now. And DeMar, I hope he and Kyle use this first round success as a platform and not a milestone, and they realise what they have to do now, because part of the reason I think Kyle is shooting badly is his confidence is just awful right now. You see it when he steps into that shot. But DeMar, if he plays the way he did for parts of last night's game, certainly in the first quarter and in the fourth, he becomes such a more dynamic player. Gets to the free throw line, he goes looking for the ball, and he attacks the hoop, and that's what the Raptors have to rely on.
He's had some success in the regular season against the Heat this season, nearly 30 points per game, shooting nearly 50% from the field. They're going to throw Wade, Joe Johnson, you'd imagine Justice Winslow's going to get a whole lot of minutes on DeRozan. I am a little worried, something you brought up there, Trey, from the Raptors' perspective. They had trouble scoring inside on some of the Pacers' bigs in either Turner, Mahimi. Hassan Whiteside is going to be seeking every single potential block.
Yeah.
That's what he does the best in the league, really, at racking up the blocks. But to counter that, he's not that great of a post defender.
No.
He really isn't. He likes to help out as the shot blocker. So can the Raps, and they struggle to do this a lot, we saw in the first round, can they go to Valanciunas? Can they try and get Whiteside in foul trouble, which you can also do? Because this is where I sort of, not only home court advantage, which I think, helps the Raptors in 7 here, but they have the depth. We saw them, Biyombo, Corey Joseph, Norman Powell. Those guys are going to continue to get big minutes. The Heat are a little more shallow. They got 2 rookies there in Winslow and Josh Richardson, and then a Gerald Green or a McRoberts. I think you give the advantage to the Raps bench-wise, but the starters might be too much.
Well, I think the big advantage there is that two-headed combination at center spot with Jonas Valanciunas and Bismack Biyombo, because you get Hassan Whiteside in foul trouble. They struggle to put out anybody out there. Mari Stoudemire played games 1 through 4, wasn't doing it defensively, so Josh McRoberts went out there. Udonis Haslem went out there. But are they going to get Jonas the ball? Doesn't seem like it. In Game 7 there, he had 10 shot attempts. Half of them were tip-in attempts. zero post-up
Yeah,
attempts.
yeah, no.
He got some drop-offs. He got some pick and pops, which aren't Jonas-like, and we're showing you every second half attempt for Jonas Valanciunas here. It wasn't pretty. If you're not giving it to him in the ball or in the post, why aren't you using him? You got to get Hassan Whiteside in foul trouble. And then the chemistry was off because they weren't giving him the ball. All tip-in attempts. That's not going to work. You get Whiteside in foul trouble, as you mentioned, Trey, Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan become that much better because they're going to the rim. Amare, Josh McRoberts as bench guys, they're not going to stop those guys. That is the biggest advantage the Raptors have. Bismack Biyombo and Jonas Valanciunas outworking the backup centers and trying to get Hassan in foul trouble.
Who does Casey put on Dwayne Wade in this series? Damari,
I would-
Norman Powell get a lot more minutes on him?
I think he will start with Damari Carroll being the best sort of perimeter defender and the reason that they brought him here in the first place. And Carroll did well against Paul George. Paul George just a superstar. But Dwayne Wade, again, we saw in Charlotte, especially in Game 6, how good and how clever he can be at getting his own shot off. So Damari is going to have to figure out how to stay out of foul trouble because then if he is off the court, it's a rookie like Norman Powell who's been fantastic, but you figure Dwayne Wade is going to eat him up inside if he can get him down in the low post.
Yeah, and can the Raptors bench maintain this pace of being so great, through the first round? That's a huge question mark to me. The Heat just have the mental advantage. You guys haven't been in the second round. We have been
And
there.
they got Joe
done that.
Johnson. That's got to be a little scary for Raps fans.
Yeah.
Playoff failure off the shoulders of the Raptors, though, too. Maybe they play a little better because they're a little more loose. We will see. That gets underway Tuesday night. Got to take a break. When we return, don't be sad, guys. Weekend Whoopsies are up next. Come on back. We asked you guys on Twitter, what's another NBA duo you'd love to see reunited? Like Nate Robb and Big Baby there, maybe opening up a barbecue shack. You guys let us know on Twitter, #TheStarters. Trey, you got to feel the best answer.
Yeah, first one comes to us from the immaculately named Trey Bowen, who says Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming, and they have a gravy restaurant, Yao's McGravy. What's a gravy restaurant? That's not a thing. Ferg Ferguson says Kobe Bryant and Kwame Brown. They once combined for 84 points. One of the best duos of all time. Hard to argue with the stats.
Yeah.
But the best answer comes from James, who says Ellen DeGeneres and Dave Grohl, along with a picture of Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki.
Oh, ouch. Ouch.
Bad haircuts.
All right.
Funny guys, though.
Keep your tweets coming. All right, speaking of funny, another edition of Playoff Weekend Whoopsies. Another great weekend in the NBA test.
They keep coming. Dwayne Wade had an incredible game on Friday. There was a fan in Charlotte who calls himself Purple Shirt Guy who was really giving it to Wade. Hey, it didn't work, Purple Shirt Guy. Apparently this Purple Shirt Guy not renewing his season seats.
He looks like Johnny Lawrence.
But keeping the backpack. He did a little bit. Game 6, Friday night. Ronnie Stuckey with the crazy ball fake on Corey Joe. Let's take another look at it. Watch Corey Joe's head just snap. Yoink.
Looking like a Brent Price out there.
Yeah, that a nice pass. Really nice finish in here. Yoink. Oh, really bit on it. Good finish. Good finish. And one.
Same game. Actor Mike Epps in the crowd. He slips.
Oh, yeah.
Takes a tumble.
Mike, oops.
But like the great actor he is, well, he just gets up
Yeah.
and keeps acting. Yeah, stroll. Yeah, look at that. Oh, yeah. I'm ready.
Classic.
It's okay. Saturday night before the game, here comes Russell Westbrook.
Where?
Looking like an extra in The Wizard of Oz, or he found 4 shirts and put them all together. I don't know.
In that disastrous first quarter for the Thunder Saturday, Russell Westbrook shoots, holds the post, but Kawhi is gone because Russell's just hanging out at the three-point
What's he
line.
admiring? The miss?
Yeah, he was firing the shot.
The gooseneck stays up
Yeah.
for 1, 2, 3,
Okay.
4, 4.5, and Kawhi's got a dunk because of it.
What is he doing?
Nice form. Beautiful.
Same game. Not a great game for the Thunder in game 1. There's Andre Robertson just chucking it a bounce. This may have been one of their best possessions in the game, actually.
At least it was a dead ball turnover.
Yeah, that's right. They didn't end in a Kawhi dunk.
During the national anthem Sunday, cameras caught Dwayne Wade crying, or was he?
I wasn't crying. I was focused. I was sweating, I'm sure.
His wife Gabrielle Union wasn't buying it. Right. Just like Raina James and Deacon Claiborne's love doesn't produce the same effect when we watch Nashville together. As time ticks down on the Hornets season, Jeremy Lin was very sad. This ESPN cameraman with no regard for human sadness,
Yeah.
just right up in there.
Yeah, let's reverse that zoom. Let's pull out. There's Larry Bird in the Sea of Red in Toronto. Raps finally going to win a
That's the
playoff
best seats
series.
he could get down there.
Yeah.
You want a little
Richard.
bird's eye view. Kyle Lowry looking for Drake on Sunday. You find him? Oh, almost. You almost got him. Get him out. Nice
Yeah.
hands. hands, Kenny.
Yeah, behind the back catch, pretty rare.
Yeah, well done.
Whoa! Oh, yeah.
nice grab.
Off the Dwayner.
Same game. Jonas Valanciunas he's just struggling to score inside. Now look, he gets fouled here, okay, but then he just wants to see the ball go through the hoop, and he gets denied twice actually. That's sort of how he plays sometimes. Just a whole bunch of offensive rebounds, and
You didn't hear the whistle.
Hanging around.
sometimes it doesn't drop.
Following the Game 7 win during Dwayne Casey's post-game news conference, Masai Ujiri goes in for a little smoocher. Dwayne loves it. Thank you. We won a series, baby.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
That's
for the
a gentle
kiss,
kiss. Very gentle. On Sunday, McDonald's released French fry coupons to those at the Oracle Arena via parachute. And look at it. They crashed the Warriors bench. Draymond Green, he's got himself a whole bunch of fries. You want them? Nah.
Yeah, smart. Get rid of them.
Nice
To
pass.
close, this is how President Obama ended his final White House Correspondents' Dinner as president.
With that, I just have two more words to say. Obama out.
Obama's got jokes.
And the prop mic. Oh, it's unbelievable. All right, one more break. When we come back, Lily's very solid play. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the starters. I turn it over to the guy that wishes he could play the piano for the very solid play of the night, Lee.
Yeah, we're heading up to Toronto for an absolute corker from Monte Ellis. Look at this for a bounce pass inside to Miles Turner, who finishes it beautifully. Here it is. Watch this angle here. Beautiful
he had another
stuff.
one like that,
Yeah, he
too,
did.
that
He was
game.
great. That's what I call the very solid play.
Good stuff. Tonight's schedule. 2 games on, guys, both on TNT. It's the Hawks-Cavs, Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals in Cleveland, 7 p.m. Eastern start there, and followed by that, Thunder and Spurs, 9:30. San Antonio dominated in Game 1. They lead the series 1-0.
Hawks, Cavs, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to J.R. Smith firing from the outside. LeBron is driving and finishing more than he ever has. K-Love inside. J.R. Smith hit 8 threes in Game 1 against the Hawks last year in the conference finals. He's shooting lights out, 56% on catch and shoots.
You like
Looking
the,
for it.
you
He's
like the
gonna-
Cavs in Game 1?
Yeah.
Cavs.
Cavs big.
Cavs and Spurs.
Gotta go Cavs as well. All right, we'll be back tomorrow night. Talk about it all. Join us 6:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, the beginning of round 2, it's like the playoffs are starting all over again.
Brace the night, people. Here we go again.